Wow, so hasn't time flown by? And we are almost, I believe, under 2 weeks before Christmas, guys. Christmas has come early for some of you because we have a new season added to season 2 of Essential Talks. And we are joined by Toyan today, who is the founder of a beautiful community which is all about empowering driven and visionary women to overcome limiting beliefs, embrace authentic connections, and commit to their personal growth. And I'm excited for this conversation. Literally just listening through it and editing this audio has just reignited my passions and just really uplifted me. So I hope today that you are inspired, you are uplifted, and don't forget to check out the Bold Woman community. And also don't forget, guys, to subscribe so you are in the loop for the next episode. All right, take care. And if we don't speak before Christmas, have a good one and a happy new year. Hi, Toyan. Thank you so much for joining us on season 2 of Essential Talks. Really excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
You're our first special guest. We're doing a special guest every month, whether you're a mum or not. You just come on to, share what you've built, the community you've built, like yourself, or just anything that can uplift individuals in general. So you run the Bold Woman, which is a community that empowers women through your story and self-discovery. So we can start there. How did that journey begin? How did the Bold Woman come about?
Yeah, it was off the back of my own story, my own journey through self-discovery, through finding myself spiritually, and really just finding my voice, finding who I am. And surprisingly, I wasn't expecting it to become a community, but I realized that in just discovering yourself, you realize that it creates an impact. You inspire other people just by doing what you love, being who you are, and aligning yourself to the right people as well. And my journey was probably 2 years back from now, where, I used a lot of the difficult times that I was facing just in being an entrepreneur for 8 years in the fashion industry, feeling like I was a failure for not being able to keep my fashion business alive. And then also just facing, personal issues coming out of a really toxic and abusive relationship. It was those feelings of really feeling like unworthy, feeling lost in a sense of my own identity, and even just feeling like I don't know, I don't belong, I don't fit in, there's no chance of me kind of rebuilding a career again. So I really took the year out to really just like find myself again, go along that journey of self-discovery and really find ways to pour back into myself. And in doing that, I was able to share my story, share my journey, the life lessons that I've learned along the way. And I realized by just sharing my story, sharing my voice, in fact, was bringing women who could either resonate or who are on a similar path of just rebuilding themselves again, rebranding themselves again, and even just changing career-wise. But out of that came a community. I decided that I was going to put together a vision board workshop for women who really wanted to focus on, really manifesting but getting the life that they deserve as well. And from there, I have really just met some incredible women along the way who are on a similar path of wanting to better themselves, really wanting to find their path and live a more fulfilling life as well. So to me, the Bold Woman, although it did start from me, it's branched out to really impact and influence other women, not only to just work on themselves, but support others along the way as well. So it's been amazing, the journey.
Wow, that is an amazing journey. I mean, just be reminded about your story just literally gave me goosebumps. It just kind of really encompasses the reason why you called it the Bold Woman, because that bold woman started with yourself, going through the challenges that you went through. And it's amazing that you've turned those challenges around in order to now encourage other women to be the bold woman that you've now become, regardless of what you went through. Speaking about obviously your story, how did you turn that around for your good? How did you even get the courage and the energy to even just get up and go again? Talking about obviously the toxic relationship and the fashion business that you would have loved to work, but I guess it's a sort of a cause for a pivot, isn't it? So how did you find that energy to go again?
Do you know what? I think it was longer wanting to sit in, settling for less, or even just sitting in the current situation that I was in and how I felt, because I realized that I was deserving of so much more. And I think in having the mindset to keep going, to remain resilient, to know that regardless of what's happened or what my past has happened didn't define who I actually was or what my future had ahead of me. And so I had to make the conscious decision to change my mindset, change my habit, work towards becoming a better version of me. It wasn't easy. There was a lot of challenging times. There was a lot of setbacks. There was a lot of kind of feeling as though, am I worthy of it? Am I worthy of becoming someone more than what I have been? Or am I worthy of even out here and pursuing a completely different career path because I've failed in the past? It was always the challenge of overcoming my own limiting beliefs that I had to deal with. I think through the power of believing in myself, I was able to push forward.
Wow. And what did those steps look like for you to sort of get to that belief system? Like, what did you do to get to that? Was it like reading the books or podcasts? Like, what did those steps look like for you?
Yeah, when I speak of self-discovery, the steps in which I took was really just finding ways to align myself back to what made me feel good in the first place. So a lot of the times I used even fitness as my therapy. It would be reading books, it would be spiritually aligning myself, so having a connection with God, praying, meditating, would be, surrounding myself with close ones who really could uplift me and encourage me along the way. A lot of many different practices that I would introduce into my lifestyle to really just completely change the narrative and push me forward towards becoming the woman I am today. So, yeah, many factors.
Amazing. No, and with that, I mean, I've been through that sort of change, and I guess we're always still going through that change. There's always something new. We're learning something new about ourselves all the time, especially when you start a new platform like you've started and like I've started with Mum Essentials. We sort of push ourselves out of our comfort zone when just starting a business itself. So when it comes to your business, The Bold Woman, what sort of challenges have you faced and when building this platform, and how have you overcome them?
But it's funny because I think the biggest challenge is the consistency. I know you probably resonate because, you can't predict
100%.
everything that happens. And especially at first, it was the consistency in terms of remaining faithful to the fact that what I have started will actually expand and grow. And I say that because sometimes people despise small beginnings in almost any stage of what they're doing, who they're becoming. And it's realizing that, you start somewhere. I think for me, it was being consistent with the factor of not being afraid to be seen trying in the beginning and going at it and believing that I could do it. And although I did face challenges, and this is new to me, I've never run a community organization before. It's a completely different area in which I've always known, which was fashion. To me, it was okay, even though this is new and it may be uncomfortable, it's something that I know I can do. And it's reminding myself daily, the self-belief that, I can do this. I'm deserving of it. I know that, through me showing up each and every day is growing it to where it needs to get to. And I think the challenges as well is sometimes it can be lonely. I think entrepreneurship, as you would know, it's not an easy task. And I honestly do not recommend everybody to start or to go down a path of entrepreneurship unless you know that your heart, your mind, your spirit, everything is in it, because you are the driving force. Everything leads back to you. Every day that comes, things might not work out. But again, it's the power of you believing that things will get better. Or you learn from your mistakes and you keep picking yourself back up. That keeps you going. I would say most challenges, regardless of whatever comes, it's to know that you have the power to keep pushing forward, to keep moving forward.
And I can relate to you on that word consistency, that dreaded word consistency. It literally haunts me all the time, honestly. I'm just like, oh, yeah, literally, I'll be like praying. I'll be like, Lord, please help me with this consistency. But obviously, it takes us, isn't it? That, we're the person that needs to take that first step, that needs to make that plan. What does that look like for you? That dreaded word. How do you even make that word turn from a dread to a pleasure? I don't know. How do you sort of overcome it?
I link the consistency to passion. And I do that a lot because, for example, it's one thing to have a job, right? And just you go to job, you work, 9 to 5, or be it the entrepreneurship journey that you have. It's a job to some. But when you look at it as part of your passion, part of your love, it feels a lot easier when, navigating your way through all of the obstacles, the challenges that come as well, because you're not seeing it for what you can just gain. It's almost a part of you. I feel like that is why I'm able to see past any obstacles that do come, because I'm so passionate about what I believe in, passionate about what I do and what I can do for the community that keeps me going. That is where the consistency comes from.
And have you ever had any, because I know obviously your background's fashion, so have you had any sort of like mental interruptions where you think, gosh, I love fashion, how do I know that the community is my calling? Should I go back to fashion? Because, when you've got sort of multiple passions, they can sometimes confuse the pathway for where you're supposed to be going down, really, isn't it? So how have you, I guess the question is, how have you been able to sort of narrow down what route you sort of go with in regards to having multiple passions?
It's funny because I used to think that you could only kind of use one source of, creativity or one source of like talent that you had. But I think you limit yourself when you feel like you can't do more than one thing. I think if you've been naturally given the gift or you naturally have a passion for multiple things, you can still go for it. I think it's just, yeah, I would say it is a lot harder because, I mean, if you're like me, I can only work on like one thing at a time. But I would say in terms of me having being in the fashion industry for as long as I was, and now completely changing direction into the career that I'm in now with the community platform, I still have found ways to connect my love for fashion, and that's just in the way I show up as myself. So the way I dress for myself, the way I am able to still use my creativity in the platform, the events that I do, the workshops that I do, that creative side of me has never left, and I don't think it ever will, because I'm a creative more than anything. But I think when you are looking at probably trying to amend to two different careers, I don't know how to multitask, but I would say you can find a way. I think it's just finding the balance that works for you at first, especially if you're doing it by yourself. And then when you do have a team and other people to assist you, then I guess two businesses or more can be running as well. So
I agree with that. I think I liked what you said about limiting ourselves. When we've got multiple passions, we often feel like we can only do one and we have to drop the rest. And it's like, well, no, we've been given, many of us have been given multiple gifts and talents. It's just knowing, like you said, in yourself that you can only focus on one thing at a time. But maybe, it's perfect what you've done, sort of streamlining your passions with, fashion, with how you show up with yourself, but then still doing your other passion with running your events for a community of women. So I think that's good how you've kind of done a bit of multitasking there, isn't it? You've kind of combined.
eventually, I don't know when, but I can see it still happening, and me picking it back up, even if it's within the community platform as well. It doesn't mean to say that that's completely died, because fashion has always been a love of mine anyway. But I feel like when I'm really being or walking in my purpose, it's with the Bold Woman community.
Yeah, definitely. The word fashion can lead on to confidence as well, building your confidence as an individual, isn't it? And that'll be my next question. Despite the challenges that you've been through, how do you hold yourself up high? How do you still continue forward with building that confidence?
I mean, it's an everyday task. Not everyday task, but everyday practice, I would say, because no day is the same. Some days I don't feel confident in myself or what I'm doing. But in terms of the days that I can practice self-confidence, it's, for me anyway, it's things like journaling. I'm always making sure there is some form of gratitude, be it in my song and worships in the morning, to my meditating, to my affirmations. These are things that for myself I have learned to help me build my confidence. Even down to just how I show up in the world. So I know for me anyway, when I look good, I feel good. So making sure
that as well.
When I look good, I feel amazing. So I take pride in how I show up. I take pride in having those slow moments in the morning where even if it's doing my skincare, even if it's brushing my hair if I'm working from home, even if it's putting something on that just makes me feel a little bit more like, okay, I'm not just getting out of bed. I'm actually showing up today to prepare myself for the day. It's small things like that, the smaller habits that really create the bigger, outcome towards how you feel, how confident you are in doing what you're doing, and how you're becoming as well. I would say the smaller things, my day to day, and then the bigger things as well. It's like being on conversations like this help me boost my confidence in speaking more, in showing up for myself and believing in what I'm doing and how it's working as well. So,
No, definitely. And I mean, you've shown up confidently on your platforms. I mean, that's why, I was inspired by your story. And when I see what you're doing, I'm just like, oh, wow, this woman is just such an inspiring, uplifting individual that I just want to be connected to. And, so you're doing that. You're doing that really well. So well done. I guess talking on your business, then your business journey, are there any sort of specific lessons that you've learned along the way that you wish you would have known in the beginning when you first started that could potentially help other people when starting?
I think main thing, not that I wish I would have known before, but one thing I know, I guess, speaking not just of the bold woman, but from 8 years in the fashion industry of my brand, it would be going back from then, it's knowing your worth. And I say that because you often seem to feel like you have to shortchange yourself just to be in certain rooms or in certain conversations. Really, how you show up as yourself in knowing who you are gives space for other people to adapt to that. You never have to come into a room feeling like you have to lower or dim your light in order for people to see your value or to understand you or to support you. Showing up as yourself is the best thing that you could possibly do, because in doing that, you're allowing people to really get to know who you are and what you can offer. I think going probably 4 years back now, mistakes that I did make was kind of allowing my business to be more of a, well, I'm just starting. So even though I can offer, or even though I have the products and the knowledge and all this other stuff, because I need to be in certain rooms, I'm going to pretend that I don't have what I have in terms of the talent or in terms of the skill set or the mindset, just so that I can be there. So I shortchanged myself, and that was another form of not really understanding or valuing my own worth, because I wanted to be in certain rooms that I was willing to offer less than what I was deserving of. And so now, putting this platform and building this community, I'm realizing just to show up as my full self, you know, and to come in with knowing who I am and knowing my worth, because then no one else gets to decide that for me. Another thing I would want to say is be yourself, along the lines of knowing your worth. Be yourself, show up as yourself, because the right people, be it, partnerships, collaborations, customers, women, just like we have with our communities, are going to show up. Because the worst thing you want to do is pretend to be something you're not. And that's one thing I don't stand by. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Because in
Can't
being
maintain
yourself,
it, can you?
yeah, in being yourself, you're going to attract the people who align towards your journey, towards everything that you are going for, towards everything that you're becoming as well. So those are things that I've learned along the way of my entrepreneurship journey overall.
Wow. That's amazing. That's an amazing message for women to take home from listening to this. Just be yourself. You attract the right people along the way. And yeah, I guess if you're not yourself, you're not going to be able to maintain it. And that's where that consistency word comes in, isn't it? That's where you'll make it harder for yourself to be consistent. You're trying to be consistent being someone else, and it's like, well, that person is not you. That's why it's probably.
Eventually you're going to get tired of trying to be like somebody else, and that's where the comparison and all this other stuff come in. I think that's why remaining true to who you are, finding who you are first of all, but remaining true to who you are is so essential on your journey as well. So.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I feel like if there's individuals who struggle with that comparison, maybe limiting things like social media and, because, back in the day, obviously we didn't really have that. It was just more like, I don't even think we had Pinterest on my day. I think, what did I have? We had like MySpace and MSN and things like that, So now you're just seeing what everyone wants to put out there, but you're not seeing behind the scenes, until people actually want to be vulnerable and share their story. In fact, you're actually probably trying to be someone that person is not. The person that you're trying to copy is not fully. You're just trying to be a facade, really, at times.
Social media for me, I have definitely limited my time. Even I've done it this week. I've just switched off because I don't necessarily have to see what's going on every single time. And sometimes it's noise. It's a lot of noise out there.
Yeah.
It's distracting as well. So sometimes I give
Very.
myself those breaks that I can really just be in the present moment by myself, doing what I need to do. And then I'll be able to jump online, engage in social media and everything else that's going on in the world as well.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree with that. So going back to the beginning then, so we spoke about obviously your story, your business, and everything that you've gone through with that. So going back to our main topic, which is built on purpose, hearing about your story, hearing about how you overcome challenges, what does that statement, built on purpose, mean to you now?
Like through everything I have been and I've built, I realized the meaning of built on purpose to me is like using my life as my message and focusing on what I'm building, not necessarily for now, but what I also want to leave behind. For me, that is being able to inspire other women with how I show up as myself, how I love myself, how I feel confident in myself and believe in myself, not only as a woman, but a woman who is leading her life to be the most fulfilling, most happiest, most loving it can possibly be. That is my message to women, and that's why I'm so passionate in how I've been able to share my story and share my journey of truly filling my cup, because it's allowing other people to be inspired to do the same. My message towards building this community is not necessarily for people to follow in my footsteps, but to help them to recognize their own power and their own light within themselves to be able to do the same as well. And I think that is the power of authentically living in your truth and becoming everything that you want to become. Because with that, it's not for other people to take the full package of how you built yourself, but it's for them to be inspired to fill their cup in ways that them feel good, the same way you've made yourself, but in their own unique way as well. That would be
I know that's powerful.
That would be the building on purpose. It's knowing that it goes beyond just the now, but what I'm really leaving behind, the message I'm leaving behind.
And just, I think, to add to that, remembering that not looking for the tens of thousands all the time, just aiming for that one individual that you could potentially help,
One thing that I have, I think even just in the beginning of the platform, because I didn't start as a community platform, I started it as just sharing my story and my journey. And in hindsight, I realized how much, focusing on showing up as yourself could do to impacting other people. I had no idea that in me just sharing my journey was going to bring women along and making them feel like they wanted to be part of it too. It's not to say it's not to say that my journey was, all glitz and glams, but it was to say that in just sharing my truth was such a powerful way of aligning people who are on a similar journey to really want to collectively come together. And that's what inspired me to create the community in the first place. It was knowing that this community of sisterhood could be there to not only work on themselves, but help each other to work on each other as well. I think it's just the ripple effect. The ripple effect of what you put out there, you will also receive. So in how I showed up with my self-love, my self-care, my taking the risk and traveling and doing all these other things made other women feel like I want to be a part of that too. Like I want to believe in myself the way she believes in herself too. And I think for me that was part of the message of building on purpose. I build myself and I pour into myself so much to the fact that when I pour into other people and teach other people how to pour into themselves, the mission, the journey continues.
Yeah. And I think just from you pouring into yourself, now your cup is more or less overflowing. Other people are getting the splashbacks of that. You know, they're getting the effects of how you've just really built yourself up. You know, they're able to now use you as a stepping stone, I guess, you know, which is an amazing thing. So you've definitely started that journey of building on purpose. Yeah,
Thank you.
100%.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I guess the last question I'll have then, what would you tell an individual? So I know my platform's mainly for mothers, but I guess the same way us mothers go through challenges and, you know, feeling like we can't pursue certain things outside of motherhood because of those specific challenges. Just in general, when talking about challenges and life as you've been through some yourself, what advice would you give to an individual who just feels defeated? They've got an idea, they've got a passion, they know they've got gifts and talents, but they just don't know how to get out of that rut in order to pursue that. Advice would you give to them based on your experience and your journey?
I think the biggest advice I can give is to surround yourself around women who have similar visions and similar goals, because the journey can never be done alone. This journey that I'm on has never been done alone, and it's the community and it's the network that I have around me that's encouraged me and supported me along the way to get into where I am today. And so for any woman who is feeling like, you know, it's impossible, or, you know, you're in a current season where you just don't even know what to do, or whether it's too late to start again, I'd say to align yourself with women who can really support you, really uplift you, first of all, so that your journey can continue to grow. Because it takes more than one person to raise a home, to raise anything. And you know, knowing that you don't have to have a you know, blood sister or relative to be someone of great support. It can actually be strangers, just like this online, who see you,
Yeah,
believe
that's
in
true.
you, who make you feel seen, heard, loved, and supported. So get into those circles of sisterhood, get into those environments where you're around those women, like-minded women, who are really on the mission of truly bettering themselves, getting everything they want out of life, starting that business, so it can really help you on your journey. So that would be my advice to you.
Amazing. Girl, where is your podcast? You need a podcast because I feel like I'm inspired just by hearing this.
I actually did have a podcast with a bold woman, but oh my gosh, it's long.
Yeah, well, when you get time, when you get that multitasking hat on again, yeah, please, you know, because yeah, I feel inspired, and I know many people who will probably listen to this and watch this will feel inspired and uplifted just from that sort of 30-minute talk that we've had. So thank you so much for just sharing your nuggets of wisdom.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited for where your community is going to go, because I can see more space is needed for mothers. You know, it's not easy. I have two sisters, mothers, and I know it's not easy for them to really, not even just in the pursuit of, you know, their careers, but really just find themselves again. Because often we get attached to motherhood of just being a mother and that's it. And you're so much more. A lot of women are going to be inspired and encouraged by what you're doing. And I can't wait to see you back doing your thing.
Oh, thank you, Toyan. No, I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I guess, where can we find you? So individuals that would love to join your community, where can they find you?
Yes, so we've got the website, which is Bold Woman Community. And then we have the Instagram, which is the Bold Woman Community. But the is THEE, and then Bold Woman Community. So you can find us on Instagram and on TikTok. We will have all our social events and workshops going regularly from next year. So yeah, feel free to come in, show up. There's definitely women there for you. So
Amazing. Thank you so much again, Toyan. And yeah, I look forward to putting this out and sharing this with everyone else. So thank you.
thank you.
What did I tell you guys? So uplifting, so inspiring. Please can we get Toyan to start her own podcast? Everyone just rally up, message her on the Bold Woman Instagram page and just get her to do one, because those nuggets were so insightful and so empowering. But thank you so much if you've got this far for listening. I hope you have left feeling empowered, feeling inspired and uplifted to start, not even to start the new year, but to just end this year as well, just driven and full of inspiration and motivation to go and get what is yours, even more so in the new year. Well, thank you again for listening, guys, and I will catch you on the next episode. Take care. Bye.